students, now we are going to start our next module. Now in this module we are going to deal regarding pure substance, ideal gas, real gas. These are the and some plots or diagrams with respect to different axes, as well as we are going to introduce steam table and Mollier chart in this particular module. So first we are going to start with pure substance. So from your childhood knowledge, that means from your standard of class 7, 8, 9, you people are well aware this particular thing, which is or what is pure substance. So if I just do a recapitulate for you people, so pure substance is nothing but a substance which is constant, which is having a constant chemical composition throughout its mass. That means suppose if you take one bucket of water or one tank of water, then the chemical composition, that means by what are the chemical constituents by which that water is made of, that is hydrogen and oxygen, they will be in the same composition, and the amount of hydrogen and oxygen which is basically producing that water, that is will be remain constant at every point of that stored bucket. That means throughout its mass, the chemical composition, if it is remaining constant, then it is known as pure substance. So water is a very good example to express as a pure substance. Around the globe, if you collect water from any source, it can be like from Africa, like from Canada, from Antarctica, everywhere, while you are collecting a sample of water, the chemical composition of that water will be remain same. Only hydrogen and oxygen will be there, and we all know 2 atoms of hydrogen will be mixed with 1 atom of oxygen. So that way it will produce a water molecule. Okay, if the chemical composition is not remain constant throughout its mass, then obviously it will not be a pure substance, it will be a impure substance. Like if we consider air, then air is not a pure substance. Why? That means the chemical composition of air, if you collect sample of air at different location, the chemical composition won't be remain constant. Somewhere the oxygen percentage can be increased or decreased also, as well as some different gases can be included. If it is an industrial area, then some pollutants can be imposed through inside that particular air sample, or if it is a kind of hilly region where there is no industries to keep putting some impact on the pollution aspect, so there you cannot have that NOx and SOx components in the air. So that way I am just trying to clear that if we are consider air as a pure substance, then we are wrong actually, because the chemical composition is a varying one while you are considering air at a different location. But the water composition, hydrogen and oxygen, always will be the constituents of making a water molecule. So that way water is a very good example of pure substance. And one thing also should be added, that pure substance, it can exist or it may exist in one or more phases. What is phase? You know that every substance can exist in nature in 3 phases, that is solid, liquid and gas. So a pure substance may exist in one or more phases. Like in case of water, we know that it is available in our nature in different phases. Like it can be solid like ice, it can be liquid as known as water, it can be semi-solid, it is known as snow, frost, or it can be also available in our nature in gaseous form, which is known as vapor or steam. So all the things in different phases present, that means ice, steam, snow, water, whatever it is a different form of water. So they all will be treated like a pure substance. So that way we can say that a pure substance can exist or may exist in nature in one or more phases, but still if the chemical composition is remaining same for all the phases, then it is obviously pure substance. Then if we just summarize the whole thing, whatever I have told now, so for your making notes, it can be written like this, that it is a substance, it is a substance, it is a substance of consisting same chemical composition, throughout its mass. That is the first valid point. And second point is that it may exist, it means the pure substance, it may exist in one or more phases, as per example, or it can be written like this, that is solid, liquid, gas or semi-solid, however it is, they all are the different phases. Okay, so best example, obviously example can define a thing very clearly. Water, it may exist in solid form, it may exist in liquid form, or it may exist in gaseous form. And in solid form it is known as ice, liquid form it is known as water, and in gaseous form it is known as steam. Or it is also available in case of snow. So snow is nothing but a kind of semi-solid state. So semi-solid state is nothing but a kind of snow or frost, you can say. So that way these are the different phases that water is available to us. But if the chemical composition is remaining same, then obviously it is a pure substance. So that way we also can include here that air is not a pure substance, it should be keep in your mind that air we cannot consider like a pure substance. Why it is so? Because the chemical composition can vary, because its chemical composition may vary throughout its mass. So that's the reason why we cannot consider that air is a pure substance, but water is a good example of pure substance. So if the concept of pure substance is clear, then we should proceed to the next topic, that is known as real gas and ideal gas. Okay, next moving on. So next topic is real gas and ideal gas. So it is also known to us, so it's also a kind of recapitulation. So from ideal gas point of view, we can say that a gas which is obeying the law of Boyle's, law of Church, Gay-Lussac law. So if the gas is obeying all these laws, so what is Boyle's law, Church's law? It is also known to us, but I will going to again recapitulate all those things. It will be needed, or they will be needed. So from that point of view, that ideal gases are those gases which are basically obeying this kind of Boyle's law and Church's law, and the combination of a combined law of Church and Boyle's law. Now, if these gases obeys these laws at all temperature and pressure, that means it is not dependent on low pressure or high temperature, not like so. So if these gases obeying these laws, then we can say they are ideal gas. Yeah, we can put some example over here also, like helium. Helium is the best example of ideal gas, or like we know hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen. They can be considered as ideal gas, but one condition is there. If the pressure is very low and the temperature is very high, that means the gas which is, I am just telling now, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, they can be treated as ideal gas if the pressure which whatever is acting on that particular gas, it is very low, that means it tends to 0. It can be considered like tends to 0 pressure. And if the temperature is very high, at that point of time that gas can be considered like ideal gas. Okay, and if that particular gas, that means hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, whatever you say, if those gases not obeying these gas laws at all temperature and pressure, then they are known as real gas. Basically, ideal gas is a kind of, we can consider it's a hypothetical one, and we know anything which is ideal, we refer, they are actually not available, they are actually not existing in nature. We are dealing with real gases actually, but if you do not have that idea that what is ideal gas, then you cannot predict the behavior or the nature of real gases. So that's why you have to know that why we can consider a real gas like as a ideal gas. Okay, so if we just summarize a small kind of definition regarding ideal gas and real gas, just how much we need actually for thermodynamics point of view, that part we are going to conclude here. Okay, so ideal gas point of view, from ideal gas knowledge, just we have to know that why they are known as ideal gas. So a gas if it is obeying all gas laws, as for example Boyle's law, Charles' law, at all temperatures and pressure, then they are called as ideal gas. So obviously, if we put some example over here, that helium, hydrogen, nitrogen, they all can be considered as ideal gas at low pressure. At low pressure, how much low? At tends to 0 it can be. At low pressure, if the pressure tending to 0, pressure tends to 0, and at high temperature. So in this particular condition, at very low pressure and very high temperature, these gases, helium, hydrogen, nitrogen or oxygen, these gases can be considered like ideal gas. Okay, and from a real gas point of view, so if that gas, similar pattern I am writing, a gas which does not obey, which doesn't obey gas laws at all temperature and pressure is called real gas. So all the gases, whatever we know, if this particular condition is not prevailed on them, then we can consider those gases like real gas. So basically, if we plot a PV equals to RT curve, that point of time, if the graph is looking like a straight line, then it is a ideal gas. Okay, and if the plot is not like a straight line, then obviously it is a real gas. So all these gases, if the temperature is very lower down and the pressure is getting higher, then those gases do not produce that kind of PV equals to RT, a straight line pattern. So I'm just trying to clear one thing, that PV equals to RT, that is a basically combined gas law. If we plot that law on a graph paper on P and P versus V axis, and if it is forming a kind of straight line, then obviously it is a ideal gas. And that ideal gas only can be achieved if these two conditions is prevailed there. And if the pressure and temperature, they are varying, that means the pressure is very high and the temperature is very low, that point of time that graph will not be a kind of straight line, it shows some variation. So that point of time it will be known as the real gas. Okay, so gases are basically real if the temperature is low. Low temperature is a condition while we can consider that gas is a real gas. And if obviously along with that, if the high pressure is there, then obviously it is a condition where the real gas actually exists. And apart of this, if we go with these two conditions, then we can consider those gases like ideal gas. And a factor is there which is known as compressibility factor. That compressibility factor also defines ideal gas and real gas. I am coming afterwards what is compressibility factor. Let's move on. After understanding of real and ideal gas, then we should having a knowledge what is Boyle's law, Charles law, from where that PV equals to RT laws actually coming for us. Okay, next moving to a short introduction regarding those gas laws.